get real for a minute. Being a single parent is hard. Anyone who's ever been in that situation can tell you that. But what people don't talk about enough is the hidden cost, the damage it does to the kids caught in the middle of it. You think it's tough being a single parent? Imagine being the child who has to navigate a world that's suddenly torn in half without the stability and security of both parents in their lives. That's the truth no one wants to talk about, and it's time we face it head on. The emotional toll on children in single-parent households is devastating. Studies show that kids who grow up without both parents in their lives are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, and behavioral problems. According to the research from the National Institute of Mental Health, children of single-parent families are up to 3 times more likely to struggle with emotional issues compared to those from two-parent homes. The instability, the constant back and forth between homes, the lack of one parent, it chips away at their mental health. Every day they carry that weight, and it's heartbreaking. It's not just their emotions that are suffering. The academic consequences are just as severe. Kids from single-parent households are statistically more likely to drop out of school, score lower on standardized tests, and have less confidence in their abilities. The National Center for Education Statistics reports that children in single-parent homes have an increased risk of academic failures, often due to a lack of resources, attention, or parental involvement. It's a constant cycle, one that becomes harder and harder to break. And let's not forget the financial burden. Being a single parent often means working multiple jobs, struggling to make ends meet, and sacrificing your own well-being for your kids. But those financial stressors don't just affect the parent, they affect the child too. With fewer resources available, these kids often have fewer opportunities, fewer extracurricular activities, fewer college savings, fewer chances to succeed. And what does that do? It sets them up for a future where the odds are stacked against them from the start. It's an unfair system that holds them back before they even have a chance to get ahead. Then there's the loneliness, the feeling of being abandoned. Children of single parents often have to cope with the absence of one parent, whether through divorce, separation, or a situation where one parent is just not in the picture. In a lot of cases, that absence doesn't just mean emotional neglect, it means they grow up without a model of a healthy, balanced relationship, which leaves them vulnerable to make the same mistakes later in life. They're left to figure out how to navigate relationships, and often they don't have the tools to do so. That's a generational cycle we can't afford to keep perpetuating. And don't even get me started on the misconception that single parents can just handle it. We're told that if we're strong enough, we'll make it. But the reality is much different. No parent can raise a child alone without some kind of support. And yet, family courts and society at large often act like single parents should just figure it out on their own without any real help. This pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality ignores the fact that children need both parents. They need stability, they need love, they need time. And when they're robbed of that, they pay the price for it. They all pay the price for it. So enough is enough. We can't keep ignoring the damage done to our kids just because we're too uncomfortable to face it. We need to demand change. We need to hold the system accountable. Family courts need to prioritize the well-being of our children over everything else, not financial incentives, not outdated stereotypes, not the convenience of just sticking them in one home over the other. Kids deserve better. If you're a parent who's seen your child suffer because of this system, now is the time to speak up. If you're someone who cares about the future of our children, now is the time to get involved. We can't wait any longer for a system that clearly isn't working. Enough is enough. It's time for a change. Stand up for your kids, for all kids, and let's demand that the family court system does better. Because our children's future is at stake, and if we don't fight them now, who will?